flying over Rome, coming in for our landing at Leonardo da Vinci Airport, we begin again another tour of Europe with the Hawaii Geographic Society. Landing in Rome can be quite an experience. It's the beginning of an exciting adventure for us, just getting off our airplane and heading into baggage pickup and customs procedures, which are very swift at the Rome airport. Before we know it, we'll be touring the city and touring Europe at the beginning of a grand trip. What's the first thing you want to do is change money. And there's a convenient money exchange window right at the airport at baggage claim. We're traveling with a group from Hawaii. There's 32 of us traveling together.
Well, you get your luggage and you get these free baggage carts and you proceed to your taxi or your transfer bus and you're on your way to Rome. Here we go. There.
When you land in the airport at Rome, there's plenty of taxis waiting right outside the terminal. Or in our case, we're traveling together, so we have a bus waiting for us and we're on our way.
The trip takes about 40 minutes to the Hotel Plaza. Plaza is the name of your hotel.
How about some Italian lessons? Want to learn some Italian?
Like good morning. Good morning is buongiorno. Buongiorno. And hello is ciao. And goodbye is arrivederci.
We arrive at the Plaza Hotel, which is located right in the heart of Rome on the Corso in the historic center of town. It's an elegant hotel, and one of the first things we do is have an orientation walk.
Very good. So this morning we're going to have one of the most interesting walks of the entire 18-day tour. This is one of the most favorite things that I look forward to on this trip, the walk through the heart of medieval and Renaissance Rome.
This is something that we always feature in our tours of Europe, our walking tours through real neighborhoods where real people are going about their daily business. And of course, we cover the great historic monuments.
You see the pediment, the triangular shaped pediment on top of the columns and the beautiful granite columns. This is in a typical Greek temple style. And above it, the great dome of the Pantheon. The Pantheon was built around the year 120, AD 120, by the Emperor Hadrian. And it remained the largest dome in the world really up until this century. It's even larger than the Dome of St. Peter's. It's not higher, obviously, but it's bigger. It's a bigger dome in diameter and circumference. This little street that we're on is called Via dei Gubernari. And it's really one of the most interesting little streets in the back roads here. It's a very lively shopping street, cafes, pedestrians, motor scooters, constant reconstruction and jackhammering going on. It's real old. The street is about 400 years old. The buildings themselves are that old. And it's just a lively Roman place. You don't see many tourists here, and you certainly don't see many tour groups coming down here, but this is the kind of place I like to take you. This is the real Rome. Look at this tiny little church. That's all the space that the architect had to work with for a facade because of the buildings blocking everything else out. So he did the most he could in that limited little tiny space, creating a very elegant miniature Baroque facade of a church.
We're exploring the neighborhood all around the Campo di Fiori. The small streets located between Via Giulia and Via dei Coronari have some of the most fascinating little workshops and antique stores. They have cafes and they have some small clothing stores, but they don't really cater to the tourists. This is more of an authentic local neighborhood. An old Hawaii license plate is considered an antique in this shop. And there's all kinds of old galleries, and there's some galleries of modern art in this neighborhood as well. And then for the real art lover, you want to go to some of the fine museums. The Galleria Doria Pamphile is one of the best little galleries in all of Rome. And there's this inconspicuous little door that leads you into the Galleria Doria. There's a courtyard in the Renaissance style, and inside you'll find a palace lined with art treasures. The figure in red is painted by Velázquez, Pope Innocent X, who is a family member of the Doria family. They were one of the most elegant and still are one of the most aristocratic families in Rome, and this is their private picture collection, which is open to the public, fairly limited hours, closes at 1:30 every afternoon, as typical of most of the small museums in Italy. They've got Roman statues. They have a large collection of paintings. There's 3 paintings here by Caravaggio. There are paintings here also by Titian and by Annibale Carracci and by Rubens and other of the great Flemish masters. And there's private apartments that you can gain access to as well. Viewing art is always a great way to work up an appetite for some more aesthetic pleasures with this beautiful plate of antipasti. Eating Roman style. You go into the restaurant and there's a self-service antipasto bar. Sit down and dig right in. Then they'll bring your pasta and they'll bring you an entree if you wish, and then bring the salad. Wash it down with a fair amount of wine and you've had a great lunch. We're fully recharged and ready for another art museum. Admiring the Spinario. This is a 2,000-year-old bronze original from Greece. He's trying to pull a thorn out of his foot. One of the world's most famous statues of the she-wolf. This is an Etruscan bronze from the 5th century BC. Romulus and Remus were added later during the Renaissance. The she-wolf is a cunning mix of ferocity and intelligence. These are all located in the Capitoline Museum. The vast treasures of the Capitoline were opened to the public in 1734, which makes this the oldest public museum in the world. And the building itself is an art treasure as well as the contents. This Egyptian basalt sphinx and the granite monkey heads decorated the Temple of Isis back in the 4th century BC. You'll find many Roman interpretations here of Greek original statues, as well as several original Greek bronzes. Priceless items in the collection of the Capitoline Museum. The buildings were partly designed by Michelangelo. Here's an immense bronze head. This would have gone with a statue nearly 40 feet tall. You'll find a variety of funerary urns. And there's also a picture gallery here. We see more paintings by Caravaggio, a young St. John the Baptist in a rather sensual pose, and his famous painting of the fortune teller. Numerous paintings and statues are in the Pinacoteca section of the Capitoline. Here's a gilded bronze statue of Hercules, a Roman original. This museum has unusual hours, for during the week it's open till 8 p.m. and on Wednesday and Friday it's open till 11 p.m. So you can come at night to observe the Rape of the Sabines and all of these other great art treasures. So you can visit Rome's other museums during the daytime when they're open and save the Capitoline for the nighttime. Perhaps the most outstanding treasure in the museum is the equestrian bronze of Marcus Aurelius. This is the only equestrian bronze to come down to us from the days of antiquity. It's 2,000 years old and it's still standing. It used to be in the middle of the open courtyard of the Capitoline, but it's been under wraps for about 5 years being renovated, and now it's on display behind glass cases. Here's a river god. Used to be what they call a talking statue. And another very famous piece in the Capitoline is the Dying Gaul. Notice the Roman compassion for their enemy victims. This commemorates the great Roman victories over the Gallic invaders from the 2nd century BC and really marks the beginnings of the great Roman power that reigned supreme over all of Europe for the next 600 years. There's 2 centaurs here, one an old sad one and a young happy centaur, half man, half horse. One of the focal points of the Capitoline collection are the busts of the emperors and philosophers. The head of Janus looking forwards and backwards in time. And our great Hawaii tour group among the noble philosophers. These marble portrait busts are vividly realistic and present the true personality of the different emperors and leaders. Finally, we look at one of the most popular pieces in the entire collection. This is the Capitoline Venus. And why are these people groping this naked statue, you might ask? Well, it's a group of blind people who are given this special opportunity to come in with a guide and actually touch these immortal masterpieces. Notice how they can almost see with their hands as they feel the beautiful and sensual contours of the Capitoline Venus. It's a Roman interpretation of a Greek original that came from the school of Praxiteles, the finest sculptor of the female form in ancient antiquity. This completes our visit, and of course there's much more in this fine museum than we can show you in a few minutes in the program. So when you're in Rome, you must visit the Capitoline Museum. You'll really enjoy it.